Hey there everyone, Afrodo here. I'm just coming off of recording my latest review, which for those of you who didn't watch the last episode, is Sanctuary by Karen Licks. But this video isn't to talk about that. This video is to do something I apparently skipped when I first started this channel, and that is the Booktuber Newbie Tag. Now, I liked watching YouTube, but most of the channels I had gotten into were already well-established, at least moderately big channels. So I never actually heard about this until recently, when I've been trying to interact a little more with the community and just get to know people in there. So, with this, I learned that a lot of newer booktubers do this thing called the newbie tag, where it's supposed to be the first video, I guess. I'm not sure if exactly, but I want to do it now since I missed it before. Now, the Booktuber Newbie Tag, based on the thing I found, is basically a series of 10, sometimes 11 questions where you go through and you answer them for the video, for your audiences to know, and so on. According to this, it was originally created by Brenda C., but the video has been unlisted. You know what? I'm not going to get too much into the history. That'll probably kill it. But anyways, so, let's do it. The first question. Why did I start this channel? Well, honestly, I love to read. And I like to read a lot. But I didn't really have people to talk about books with. I only had one friend who was as avid as a reader as I am. And with as many books as there are, we didn't quite always intersect when it comes to reading. And I'm not just a reader, I play games and stuff, but as time went on and I've recently rediscovered my passion for reading within the last 2 years, within the last year, it's just I've really wanted to just sit there and talk about my books. And I've noticed that YouTube really does create that bubble for interaction about books. And I love that so much, I wanted to get in on it. I wanted to make my own videos, review books that I like, and start discussions on them. I'm still trying to find my style and figure out what works best for me, that is. But, for the most part, that is why I started my video. 2. What are some fun and unique things that I can bring to YouTube? My fro. Everyone needs a fro in the mix. And you know what? I haven't seen very many YouTubers with a fro yet. That's what I'm bringing. The fro power is unmatched, is all I'm saying. Aside from my fro, I guess I don't know. I guess I'm not doing this to bring fun and unique. I'm trying to be fun and unique, but I'm not doing this with the intention of. I can bring my own unique style of reviewing. I can talk about books that others wouldn't know. I get a lot at my thrift stores, so I get stuff that most people wouldn't even know about or things like that. I like talking about any kind of book, whether it be highly published or something almost no one knows about. And I guess apart from that, I don't know how else to answer the question. I do like reviewing books, and again, the fro. I think that's a good enough reason. I'm just saying. 3. What am I most excited about for this new channel? Just the ability to do this. I'm really glad I've lined up books to talk about, ones I've heard real bad things about, one I know are bad, things that I love and I want to share with you guys. Honestly, what I'm most excited about is what I'm already doing, and that's talking about my books and just being able to read more, and just, honestly, this is a lot of fun for me already. I think I've already got to the point where I'm most excited about it. I hope that doesn't mean I'm going to burn out. Nah, it won't. Why do I love reading? Well, I don't know. I guess I've just always loved reading. It takes me to new places that I can't experience elsewhere. And I love gaming for the same reason. But with reading, it's always more complex. We can approach... Try not to sound too arrogant here, but we can always approach things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to talk about through the lens of a fantasy or sci-fi. It's fun to see what people can imagine in their world, and otherwise it's just I don't know. It's just, why do I love reading? This is hard to answer for me. Because I just love it. What book or series got me into reading? I don't think there's one specific book or series, but I can point to the ones that I remember most during this time. Now, I did love Lord of the Rings, but that got me into fantasy, but my first real big exposure to it was Lord of the Rings movies. I would say my first big reading experience, the strongest one that really dragged me in, would probably be the Percy Jackson series. It's actually funny, because when I started Percy Jackson, I actually started with The Titan's Curse, which was the newest one out at the time. So when I was reading it, I ended up finding out, there's more. So I read backwards. Then I read The Sea of Monsters. And then I read The Lightning Thief. So I ended up reading the first 3 books of that backwards before catching up. And the reason I used Percy Jackson and the Olympians, because this was the first time I was part of a fan base while the books were coming out, while the hype was still real. Even when I joined Harry Potter, I wasn't even really in the fan base until the last book was coming out. And yeah, while I stood in line to try to get that, it was really Percy Jackson and the Olympians where I was eager for each new book. I stayed up till 5 a.m. reading the 5th book. And I did not put that book down until I was done, and I loved every second of it. So I have to credit that book as the book that got me into reading. Number 6. What questions would I ask my favorite booktubers? What's your favorite book series? What's your favorite genre? Have you ever read a book that was just... Have you ever read a book in your least favorite genre that made you rethink, maybe I just got bad books in that genre? You know, a book so good that you can't help but think, if every book in this genre is like this would be my new favorite genre. It's just, I have a whole bunch of questions. I'm not sure I could list them all out right here, but those are the first few that come to mind. Number 8. When did I start reading? I started very young, but I didn't really get super into it until I was in middle school, 7th grade specifically, so when I was around 12. Otherwise, I had read books here and there, but it wasn't really the love of reading that I have now. Where do I read? My house, mostly. I travel sometimes to go visit family in another state, and I would love to read while on the road, but I just can't. I get motion sickness so bad, and when I'm at the family, they don't like leaving me alone, so reading there isn't always an option. So, for the most part, I always end up reading at my house. Typically, I try to do 1 chapter just after I wake up, 1 chapter just before I go to bed, and 1 chapter while in the bathroom, because I'm not doing anything else in there, and it's better than being on my phone, I guess. So I guess that's where I read the most. Number 10. What kind of books do I like to read? Yes. Honestly, I don't have a least favorite... Well, I do have least favorite genres. But I don't really have a book that I like to read more than others. If I had to choose one specific genre that I love the most, it would be sci-fi or fantasy, as those are the 2 genres that I think are the most interesting to read. But when it comes to books in general, I just love them all. I have detective series, I got sci-fi, I got fantasy, romance, I got slice of life, I got historical fiction. 11. Apparently this is the one that's sometimes done, otherwise often left out. But 11. What does my book collection look like? Yeah. I'm going to do a bookshelf walkthrough someday, but there's a little hint. Let me see if you guys can see it very well. There's a little hint. That is my main bookshelf. That's a side bookshelf. That right there, more books. Down here, more books. You see that back there? More books. My book collection is everywhere. I think that's what it looks like. But I posted a video not too long ago where two of my 5 commenters said they wanted a bookshelf walkthrough. So I'll probably be doing that soon. But yeah. So that's all I have to say. This isn't a very long video. It's a short, nice one. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Keep in touch for the next video coming out, Sanctuary review. And just beware that the review coming out after that is probably going to be long. And I'm still trying to find my style. I'm not sure if the style I'm currently doing I'm perfectly fine with yet. I like it being more neat, but as I'm going, I'm realizing that it's a pretty limiting style and that I can't quite talk about books. For those of you curious, For those of you curious, I got a dog behind Mount Doom here. Flopsy. Flopsy. See? There she is. That's who you heard shake her bells earlier. Yeah, she's a pretty puppy. Yeah, she is. I got another one too, but she's kind of a psycho. I'll introduce you. Oh, wow, I didn't even have to call her. She knew. She knew. Yes, you did. You knew I was going to call you. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? As you can see, she's very easily excitable. But yeah. Oh, let me fix that. That's my Booktuber Newbie Tag. I'm eager to see you guys more in the future, and I'll be glad to talk to you more. Okay.